Yep.
All right.
Hey there, what do you say there, world? We are live.
Hey.
We're going to be recapping the Amazing Race Season 28, Episode 8. Woo!
Wow.
Coming down to the nitty-gritty, the final third. I am Justin. This is...
Diana.
I'm James Earl.
We'll get
Hi,
it.
Krista. I'm back.
And special guest today...
Hello, I'm Burnie Burns from the quintessential wonderful second place team.
That was the first thing I thought of when you guys went to the wrong park last week. I said, "Oh my gosh, I feel like you guys are like a Kelsey and Joey-ish. You just can't get that extra oomph to get you in the front," and it kills me because I really like you guys. I want you to do well, even though you're not in my fantasy pick. But
Oh, really? Who's your fantasy pick?
Tyler and Corey. I have Kurt and Brody, and I had Scott and Blair.
I thought we were your fantasy pick.
Oh,
we reminded you guys.
I was between you guys and Tyler and Corey because it was Green Team is why I like them, but I loved you and Ashley because reading your bios in the very beginning, you are what I thought me and Justin were going to be. Like you just had a really good relationship. You guys are really sweet to each other. And I ended up going with the green thing as opposed to, like, you guys were my head pick. Like, you're smart,
Gotcha.
you guys balance each other, but I went with my heart and the green. So.
And James Earl scooped you up in the
Yeah.
first round.
Oh, I picked you up real quick. Just like I said, just the video, like the one y'all released saying like how you prepared for the race and what you were thinking about, like I was so impressed. Like I was blown away by like how much y'all had thought about it and knew before the race started.
Well, we right now we're at 3 second places in a row. So we did Armenia, and then we did Georgia, and then we did Dubai.
And I think Kelsey and Joey hold that record for
Oh, really?
6. They
had
6.
a lot. Yeah.
Wow, they got 6.
Oh,
Wow, that's amazing.
Justin, you know about second place. Oh.
Oh.
I was only been there twice, so I
You know
really
what
don't
else?
know. Sorry.
You know about legs. With
I know
the
I know more about first place than I do about those second places. That's
Uh-huh.
How does ninth place feel, Justin? I think you're one of the only teams that got ninth place though.
Well,
This chat at least.
maybe me.
Yeah, they came in 10.
Krista came in double
Please,
digits.
let's not go there.
We actually
I
had a
do.
really similar first leg to you guys, Justin and Diana, because we checked in at the very first board, the hours of operation board at the Aztec Temple. We checked in dead last at that. It's like we had that moment of, we worked so hard for this. Are we going home right now, or is it over? I didn't, I wasn't crying in the backseat of a cab or anything. But I did.
Cool.
I had a very quiet night in Mexico when like everyone's like having that big slumber party, and they're all having a blast, and I'm just like quietly throwing away probably half of my pack that night in the first leg, halfway through the first leg. So, what'd you guys end
We've all
up?
been there.
What'd you guys
All
end
of
up in that leg?
We came out 9th. Our first
Yeah,
leg we came in
that
ninth.
was the one where you finished 9th.
Yeah, and then the next leg we came in first.
It was
so we kinda went
9,
from
1,
worst to
2,
first.
1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1.
All right. Let's talk about birds.
Binary.
Well, we have no first places so far.
Yeah,
So.
yeah.
But y'all still been killing it. Here's the thing, like even though y'all get second place, I feel it's always by like the skin of your teeth you're not there. Like just one thing happens that keeps y'all from getting first.
Unless you take a big risk on a mountain and try to dig a tent.
That was unbelievable.
rough.
It was crazy, It's like those detours. You just kind of have faith that they're balanced. Like I watched, you guys last season that chose the needle in the haystack. Was that going into the finals, right?
Yeah,
cell phone.
Yeah, they're picking the cell phones out of that thing, and I was just like, yeah, that could go bad, But you just have faith that it's balanced, and you go in. But yes, that was not a tent challenge. That was a dig a big ass hole in ice and snow challenge, is what that was. You know what they didn't show on that episode is we were at 17,000 feet, and we had to dig. First, we had to go down this huge staircase, and we had to dig through all that ice and snow. But then at the very end of it, after we were completely winded, I had to blow up 2 air mattresses for the tent.
Oh my
So
gosh.
By mouth?
by mouth, yeah.
Oh.
And they didn't even show that. It's like that took every last bit of oxygen I had. And when we ran back up the stairs, I had that moment that I'm glad didn't make the edit where I sounded like the oldest man on the planet. I think I made this noise. I went,
Yeah, but it's frustrating because, people sitting back watching on their couch are like, oh, that's it. They just had to build a tent. And really, there's so much more that's involved sometimes that gets edited out that really, that took you an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, that they cut it down to 3-minute piece, and it doesn't do it justice.
We were saying, like, where we're from, we know snow. Like, it's not easy to start shoveling snow like that, especially when it has to be a certain depth and everything. I was like, I would have been dead.
Well, also, you guys know, you read the clue, and it's like, what you read is like you interpret it what you think it's going to be, and then you get there, and it's like, oh, you see when you get there, like, this is the actual thing that's part of the challenge, once you get there, and you can't really always figure that out from what the clue is.
No, definitely not.
Or if it's like putting a tent together and you look and you end up having to dig out a space for the tent. So
I could put tents together,
right.
But can you dig?
At 17,000 feet.
All right, so
Tyler's here from the airport in Australia. Thanks for still being here, Tyler.
I think
Corey.
Corey's on his flight right now.
He is.
Nice. Both of them are hanging. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. Now, as a gamer, and you have such a dedicated following, knowing that you got on the show, what did you do to prepare? Because I know you got to feel some pressure from all the gamers. Like, you got to represent for the gamers.
So we focused on one thing which I think does not get shown a lot in the race is we do tons and tons of research. And we did that before the race too, where, memorizing flags. We went through and read everybody's interviews, all of you guys, all the past contestants. We would go through and just read about their experience and try to piece together, like, what did people have in their pack? That was the hardest thing. There's no information.
There was nothing.
Yeah. And so it's like what to put in the pack, but the hidden, like, thread that you could see in all the interviews that nobody really talked about was it seemed like the later the race went on, just everybody got intensely sick. Like, that everyone got either, like, some kind of stomach flu.
Yeah, we all.
Yeah. From traveling everywhere. So it's like we just did a lot of research on that. And then, of course, we did, like, puzzle rooms. We did zip lining. We did indoor skydiving, like in one of those, like, wind silos. And
that's so cool.
Yeah, I look awesome in a parachute suit. Let me tell you. I like
gold bathing suits.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Speaking of gold bathing suits, I was checking the Twitterverse, and you
got a nice body.
You got the MILFs going crazy up on the Twitterverse.
Sherry and I want to start a fabulous over 40 club. I wonder can I declare myself a cougar? Am I at that level? Can I do that?
Absolutely.
Listen, I don't know. Sherry looks great too.
Yes,
I mean, this whole cast was a great looking cast.
Sherry's awesome.
I think that Sherry got the most bathing suit comments out of every girl. Well, everyone looked like ridiculously good in the bathing suits with the girls, but everyone was like talking about Sherry. They're like, damn.
She kept leaning on that.
Oh my God.
We'll move on. All right, so
Brody made a really funny comment that didn't make the air, which he said, you could tell what religion he was just based on his shorts, how tight they were.
Muzzle tough.
And then later he said he was disappointed it came later in the race when, as you guys know, you don't get any food half the time, or you get like a bread sandwich basically sometimes.
Ham and cheese.
And he said, dude, I'm like, I'm so worried because I feel like I've lost so much mass, dude. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not worried about the losing mass thing. I'm happy that it came this late in the race.
That's what I said. I keep saying I wish our bathing suits were later in the race when it was like Africa and we couldn't eat anymore.
Yeah.
It sounds terrible, but it's the truth.
No, and they also didn't show how we had to get changed in like a tent. You had to take off all your clothes in this tent.
Well, what happens with Rachel, I wish I would have done, she put the tank top over her, right?
Yeah.
Because what they try to do to me, a little sneaky, they try to give me a smaller top as well, and I would not come out of that tent. I was like, you're giving me another top or I'm not coming out. So I wish I would have just put the thing over it, and then I wouldn't have been exposed at all. So I was like, yes, Rachel, you tell them you don't want to wear that top. You
want to talk about some inadvertent sabotage. Dana was having a lot of trouble with her top when she came out of the changing room at Atlantis, and I don't know why she asked Corey to help her adjust her top.
I read that.
And Corey's like back there working on it. He goes, I don't know how these things work. I've never dealt with a bra in my life. And so he ended up loosening it, and she had a lot of trouble from that point on, just keeping it. And also we had to I think about especially the poor ladies, we had these skimpy suits on, And then we had this puzzle that weighed about 15 pounds that we had to shake like this.
Oh God.
Yeah,
Well,
you're holding your arms out, just shaking.
We did ours in puzzles too, and we were like leaning over, and I was just thinking about my students, right, Diana? I was like,
yeah, that's exactly. Well, because there's one shot of you, Chris, that's like straight cleavage, and I'm over here watching it saying, oh, thank goodness it's not me.
Yeah.
Thank goodness it's not me. I mean, your kids are young. My kids are prime.
My kids don't know
11 and 12 middle school kids.
Ugh.
Burnie.
I think you guys had this stuff though, because those were white bathing suits, which I think were harder to pull off, and it was like leg one when you're all crazy too, right?
Right. It's leg one right after you've been in that hotel for a little bit. All you've done is eat, and then you sit there and you go out on the beach.
Yeah, I agree with Corey though. I would have kept that. That is so Jersey Shore bathing suit. Like girls wear that on the right here. So if you could send them over, like I definitely have one in my closet.
One thing before we go to the episode, I wanted to mention, Burnie was just talking about how like you never know what to pack before you go into the race. I will say for anyone that wants to ever do the race, just don't overpack. If you think you need something, you probably don't, and you're going to throw it away anyways.
Yep,
like,
first leg.
Really though, like you're going to pack a 40-pound bag, and then by the end of like leg 1 or 2, it'll be like 20 pounds. So
yeah, that was the hardest research that we did. Like before we left, we were taking all these like vitamins, trying to boost our immune system, knowing that we were going to be exposed to airlines and flights. But really, Burnie, like you said, finding what people pack, like how many pairs of underwear, how many pairs of shorts or pants or tank tops do you need? So I love how Blair did it after the race. Although she packed a little bit more than I think the average person might pack. So we talk about going back and making a video of the things we did pack and the things that we wouldn't pack the next time. Because we did what you did. Didn't you have the clickers?
Yeah.
The counters?
Yeah. I think we got that from the dentist, I think is where we picked that up.
We had counters, we had whistles, we had those foil emergency blankets. I mean, we
had that? Yeah.
Yeah, so.
The one thing that was a little bit heavy that I want to say in case anybody watches this in the future that I ditched and I wish I hadn't was we had these ultra light little air mattresses that were meant to go. They weighed 3 ounces and they got down to about this big in the pack. You get so anal about weights, about everything. Like we were calculating these little snacks we had, and it was like, what is the most calories per gram that we can get in these things? Yeah, so it's like we ran a lot of math before we went. So.
Yeah, we brought 40 protein bars. We brought one each every day for the whole race. So
I didn't eat them at all.
She didn't eat them, but I was like, if nothing else, we're getting 10 grams of protein every day, cookies and cream or chocolate chip, or cookie dough. So that was what we were doing.
Ugh.
They put those flavors on the package, but never had them.
Never had them. Dust. They all taste like dust.
Yeah, they had a weird taste. That's why I didn't have any of it.
So we could jump around. There's a couple things from this episode I want to ask you about. You got out to a detour and you switched. Now a lot of people think switching detours is the killer. It's it's what kills you. What made you switch? But I know you did it really, really fast, which is smart if you're going to do it. But what was it that you just didn't think you could do it? Or I know Ashley afterwards was pretty much dead, but you quit before you saw how crazy tired she was.
So we went in when your legs that you have previously shape your strategy for every coming leg. It's like when I look at all the stuff we do, either right or wrong, it's always I realize how the previous legs influenced us. And it's like the race is like that as a whole. Our whole race, I think, is a big reaction to your guys' race where there's so many equalizers in our season that we are just bunched up constantly, and we're either racing for first or racing for last the entire time. And I think that's because you guys, Justin, Diane in particular, you guys got so far out in front sometimes, and the other teams were just trying to catch up. So in Dubai, we were kind of thinking about Chamonix. In Chamonix, when we went for the tent, we knew it was risky, but we were kind of screwed because we knew we couldn't switch because that other challenge, the Ferrata, we knew was a single file line, and there was going to be no way to jump ahead of people. So once we went in, we didn't have the ability to switch. So in Dubai, we knew the camels would be faster but harder. And so we thought, let's give it a shot. We knew there would be a head start for the second heat. And we said, if it doesn't work out, then there's no way we can beat these camels. We'll just switch immediately. And we just kind of stuck to that plan and did it. It would have been great to go for a second heat, but Ashley just wouldn't. I told her to pedal 50%, but she just wouldn't do it.
Oh.
She's a competitor, so she was racing. Also, not shown, Corey sabotaged her just a little bit.
Oh!
Wait, what happened with this whole gear talk? Because I saw something on Twitter. Corey's in the chat, and something happened with the gears or something. What happened?
So I would annoy a lot of teams, especially the dancers, because I would always try to like game stuff or like try to like figure out like what's a way we can get some kind of leg up and advantage. And we showed up at basically the same time as Tyler and Corey, and I was saying to Ash, hey, let's hold back a little bit, because in my mind, they would have put the fastest camels out to run first, just to demonstrate how fast the camels are. So I said, let's let Tyler and Corey race those camels. We'll race the next one. If we don't beat them, let's like just go like 75%, and then we'll get a head start on the next one. We'll be fresh for that. And then while we're at the starting line, they go, nope, you guys have all got to race together. They made us race green team and yellow team. I was telling Ashley, go, here's the gear shifters right here. And they're right here. And then Corey overheard us talking about that. And according to Ashley, she, for whatever reason, because we were about to get started, she turned to Corey and goes, where were the gear shifters again? And he goes, they don't have them. There's no gear shifters on these bikes. Like, he just said they don't have them. He wasn't really, like, very detailed. But she said he told her explicitly the bikes don't have gear shifts. So she was riding in first gear, which, as you know, is just like she's pedaling like a maniac and making
air, essentially.
I kind of saw something that said Tyler and Corey didn't win the first time because they didn't know they could switch gears, and now you're saying that they knew the whole time and they were sabotaging?
Okay, wait. Corey's in the chat, and he said the gear change was built into the brake. I'd never seen that before.
It was the kind where, you know, the on a 10-speeder, you know, a road bike, when they come down like this, you push from the side. So it was basically like when you push like this.
So it's like an
pedals.
accidental sabotage then.
I don't think it was intentional at all. I really don't.
Well, this is the leg when we start to see people start like going. Let me ask you about it, because it looks like you're the one that brought the fangs out first. Everybody's like, hey, all hanging out, you're getting the puzzle going. How do you do it? How do you do it? You find out the way, and you're like, how do you do it? And then boom, I got it. I'm out.
I'm so happy that you did that.
I'm not going to fault you for that at all. Like, it's that time of the race, so there's only 6 teams.
Well, the hardest thing actually was earlier in the race was when we got to the gondolas in Chamonix, we realized we were in dead last, and there's Sherry and Cole standing there. She goes, do you want to help each other? It's like, well, we're racing you at this point. It's like, I didn't know what to tell her. And you know,
I don't want to help you.
And just so I can throw Green Team even further under the bus, because
oh
they're
God,
America's sweethearts. They also, don't forget, they also did not tell anybody at the flag challenge how to do where the key was. I mean, that was probably about 5 minutes, you know, that we were spending just like trying to go from memory on the flags. But Corey figured it out and shared that with Matt, but didn't like explicitly didn't share it with anybody else. So it may seem like we're all like summer camp friends, but it's competitive. Everybody wants to win for sure.
Well, I'm glad that it's like that, because in the beginning for us it was it may be a little frustrating that everybody was so friendly and helpful, and on our season everybody was out for throats and wanted blood. So to see people not sharing information, and for you to just see ya and just go.
I like it.
I liked it too.
This is the part of the race where it turns dirty. This is when it happens.
Right. Well, it doesn't even have to be
though.
dirty.
No,
it doesn't have to be dirty. Like, you're just being smart. You're being strategic. Like, pretend you didn't hear them and like just go on with your time. Like, and even if you did, like, you have to do what you have to do at this point. And it comes down to where there's a point where it's just every man for himself. So
I just want to give a big shout out to all of Burnie's followers, because we have a lot of them viewing us right now. So thank you very much for the shout out. I really appreciate it. If you
I also want to
give
give a little bit. Oh, sorry. I want to go back to the detour switch right now, and I want to give you a little bit of props, Burnie, because you didn't sit there and try to debate, like, should we switch, should we not switch, like, what are we doing, let's maybe decide. Like, you made a decision, and you said, like, I'm making a decision, we're going to switch right now. And I think if you're going to do a move like that, that's what you have to do. So I think you handled it very well.
Because Logan and Chris on our season, when they tried to switch detours, it was pure chaos. It was like, should we do it? Should we not? They were getting changed. And then you waste so much time. So the fact, like you said, James, that you were like, nope, we're doing it, go. It didn't take any time away from you. When you sit and discuss it so much, you're losing time.
So. Yeah, watching them with the alligator, like debate that back and forth. Yeah.
It's useless time wasted.
Well, I know James Earl said it many times. If you're gonna do it, just do it, and that's the way you did it. You said made one question. You looked at her. She didn't want to give up, and you threw in the towel like Rocky style. Said, "Hey, You would live to fight another day, and you went to the next one, and you guys almost got first place with a team using an express pass. That says a lot about how far ahead or the competitive edge that just you doing that puzzle and not helping the other teams gives you.
Well, I want to talk about before we get to the extra footage, because I watched the entire thing of when you guys switched detours.
Yeah.
And she was in bad shape, and like I felt for her, like there was, like, I think she could have tried to do it again, but the way you were so supportive to her was really, really incredible. Like, it made me, like, I was like starting to tear up. Like, you guys are just such a great couple, and you work together, and you were like, put your head between your legs. Like, do you want me to pull over? Like, you kind of put the race aside for a second just to, like, be in your own zone and be in your relationship. And I just think that's really important part of the race too, like communication. And I don't know, the way you were just nurturing to her was really, really nice to see. And I watched that whole part. She was really sick. I don't think a lot of people saw that.
Dire straits. Yeah, you can watch you were saying you can watch that clip online. It was just they posted that one. It's like all of her basically hacking in the back seat of the SUV. Yeah, it was the entire drive to the other detour. She was in the backseat just hacking up along the sound. Yeah, it was bad. You know, the thing, it was so dry out there. You saw everybody. It was a full 2K sprint on a bike, and then even like Brody and Kurt, they had to lay on the pavement for about 10 minutes afterwards just to recover. Well, because we barely walked to the car.
It's so hot, and all the lactic acid built up, like, just is there at the very end, and like I felt that jello legs that Ashley has had before, and it's not a happy feeling, but like what Krista said, I mean, how sweet you are. You were like, oh honey, or babe, no, like let's switch, let's do it now, because you just knew that you didn't want to put her through that again. And it was kind of a moment when I was like, see, Justin, that's how loving men should talk to their women.
It was really nice to see, yeah. But that reminded me when we were in India and we had to do the laundry task, and like that feeling of being in the sand and that dehydration, it's like your body, like I remember my body just completely chilling up. Like, well, Diana, you did the laundry task. Like when you're in the sand and that heat, anything you do is just 10 times harder. It looks a lot easier than it is.
How hot was it there, Burnie?
It wasn't horrible. I mean, I'm from Texas, so it's like I'm used to some heat. It was a hot day though. Navigating the sand just makes it even tougher because it's not like normal beach sand. I mean, you put your foot in, it sinks to the ankle. It's really strange. So, like when we were in the Land Rovers coming back from the Camel Walk, I poured out one of my shoes. That was not a joke. I mean, it was like great. Every step I took, I brought shoes that had they're kind of got holes in them so they'll dry fast. I had fast dry shoes. But they would just pick up sand. My shoes were swelling as sand would get in and then not come back out. So it was I had to take them off every 30 minutes and just dump out half.
Was that in the extra clip too? Because I saw that it was like a bucket of sand came out of your shoes.
It just keeps coming. It just
it just kept going.
It never stops.
It was like your shoes had extra compartments to hold sand. Because it just was pouring out of there. Like you didn't know how it could possibly fit.
How far behind first place were you in this leg?
No, we were in first. That was the crazy thing. We didn't even know we were in first. So I'm going to show you here. So this is something you don't see on the race. So the models were the first team I think that got eliminated from people getting competitive because they wanted help at the UN challenge. They got eliminated. The models early on were very critical to us because they could talk their way into anything. They could get us into, they would convince a shopkeeper in an airport to let me use a computer, and then I would take a bunch of notes. There's a behind-the-scenes clip where I left a note for them at Totemo, the mud volcano.
Yes. Right, yeah, we
had satellite photos of it. But, let me see here. So, here, you're not going to see it too well, but I drew a basic map of Dubai, and these are all the landmarks, the major landmarks. So we always knew where we were relative in Dubai. We'd say,
that's awesome. You drew that on the plane?
Yeah, or in the airport lounge before we took off.
Love it.
And so it's real basic. It's it's just numbers, and it's it's there's the Burj Khalifa, there's the Palm, there's the Atlantis. So we knew which direction to head in at all points in time. And we actually, they didn't show this either. It's one of those production things where on the clue it said you had to park your car legally. And when we got to the Abra station where we were supposed to pick up that boat, we thought Kurt and Brody were 2 or 3 hours ahead of us. And we're sitting there, and I said, we have to park our car legally, so we have to pay for parking. So I had to get changed. And then as I'm getting changed, all of a sudden Brody and Kurt pull up, and I'm like, I'm actually surprised that there wasn't the show where I literally said, "Are we in first place?" And then we just all started running at that point in time. And there was a little bit of competition there too because those guys are fast. You're not going to beat them in a foot race. This is our third foot race that we've lost to them to the mat. Mm-hmm. We lost in the first leg, we lost in Chamonix, and now we lost in Dubai, like a straight foot race with those guys. And they actually boxed us out from the parking meter. Like they were once I said, we're paying for parking because we had to park legally, they literally like took it over and boxed me out. And I was like, I guess I'm going to the other one, and I ran to the other one.
Whoa!
Wow!
Yeah, so
I like the dirty play though.
Wow!
Yeah,
I still don't think a lot of that's dirty play. I just like the competition. Like I know it sucks, Burnie, but like I like the competition because, like we were saying a little earlier in the season, you didn't start seeing that, and then around leg 3, you really started coming out. And now I think everyone like feels the pressure. There's only 6 teams. Like there's not much wiggle room.
Yeah.
You're hungry. You're
agree.
tired. It gets a lot more intense.
It's competition. I think people want to see people be competitive,
Of course.
So how far out of first were you for this leg?
So we were. Literally. You can see us on the boats. It's like a boat here that's them, us, and we're just going like this fast, And I'm like, I could have stepped onto their boat if that was legal. I could have literally stepped on the bow of my boat and to theirs, and it's like we were right there. But then what happened is. So it's kind of hard to explain, but we were coming here. We had a dock here to do that really cool run through the marketplace in Dubai, which was just gorgeous. One of those like things you only see on The Amazing Race. It's like these thin alleys, and these merchants and everywhere. This big bazaar. So we were supposed to dock and then run through that, but we saw Phil and we tried to cut around and cut through all that, but that was not the route we were supposed to take. We had to keep going. So we ended up spacing out a little bit from Burnie Kurt, but it was 30 seconds tops.
So and last week y'all were only 3 minutes. 3 minutes from first place last week.
Yeah. Based on the start time, is that how you figured that out, James Earl?
Yeah, that's how.
That was and you know what I have to say, cabs are part of the race, and we understand that. And everyone's like, if I find that cabbie, I'm gonna kill him or something like that. Everyone's like being very sympathetic to us. But I have to say that when we got in the cab and we said we're going to Reiki Park, and he took us to Vake Park. When we did find out we were in the wrong park, we jumped in another cab and said, "Take us to Reiki Park." And the guy said, "You're already here. This is Reiki Park." So I'm actually surprised that more racers didn't run into that exact same problem that we did. Just sucks. Ashley did such a great job in that dance.
She killed that dance.
Beasted it.
Absolutely killed it.
Yeah, I just want to say too, that was the leg when we fell in love with Corey, because I don't know, they might show it, but Corey was like. He was so upbeat. He was so upbeat after just such a beat down from doing that dance so many times. He was amazing. He was just like such a happy-go-lucky guy, and he was like, I don't know if he told you guys, but one of the instructors quit on him. Was like, he cannot be taught, and walked away.
What?
Yeah.
He was on the show last week, and if you didn't see the show, it's on YouTube. He did say that one of the instructors quit on him, saying he can't be taught. Choreography.
Oh my gosh.
So, when you lined up for the race and you're at the starting line, who was the one that you were worried about? Is it the typical teams? You looked at Kurt and Brody, you said they're massive, they're the ones, or did you see like the plotting eyes of somebody?
Yeah, well, those male teams, historically, they don't tend to win. Like the Cowboys or in you guys' season, Tanner and Josh. So it's like you always try to think like who's the wild card there, and I looked really at the clever girls because they were dressed all in maroon. They looked like they meant all business, and they looked like they had studied the race. Like they were asking questions. You just kind of listen and play that game where you listen to what other people are asking, and they were asking pretty much all the right questions we felt.
Well, that's why I felt. That's when you start to target people, because Justin in our meeting decided to talk about all the different seasons. So we were like, this guy knows his stuff, automatic target. And I saw Diana like, shut up.
Yeah.
So it was like, so whoever's going, when you know a lot about the race, when you're in a meeting, keep it to yourself. Because Kelsey was a closet super fan, like we said, and we had no idea. But Justin was like, well, in season 2, I remember.
It was season 3. It was flow season.
The funniest thing was, Krista, in that meeting, we had the TMZ girls sitting in front of us, and they were talking about if your cab driver is speeding, like you have to get your cab driver to slow down, and you have to know how fast you're going. And they said to each other, how do you convert kilometers per hour to miles per hour? They said that. And I'm like, I looked at Justin, I was like, oh my gosh, do they not know that, okay, if it says 40 kilometers an hour is the speed limit, and...
But I was the dumb one.
Oh my gosh. I just looked at that, I was like,
dumb.
oh my gosh.
Well, I don't know if you guys
Go ahead,
got.
Burnie, I'm
I
sorry.
don't know if you guys got as much briefings as we did, because we were going to really, interesting parts of the world. Armenia and Georgia were in a part of the world where a lot of stuff was going on with like Turkey and Russia and the Russian jet being shot down.
They're both new countries, so
Yeah.
they didn't know what to expect.
And the Paris attacks had happened just before we had run the race. So we got some security briefings on a fairly regular basis. And I can't say enough about the security team. They did a great job keeping us safe all over the world in some crazy remote areas. And my favorite moment though was in one of those briefings, one of those meetings when the head of security was just saying, just look out, be aware. If someone's looking at you, like if they give you a look like this, and he did this, but he did it at Blair, and he went like this, and she goes, I thought she was gonna pass out. I thought, wow, if this lady gets freaked out over somebody looking at her, this will be really interesting to see what happens. It was so funny.
Yeah, they were telling us some crazy stuff too about like ATMs. Don't go to the. I was like, why would we be at an ATM?
Why would we go to an ATM?
We don't carry credit cards. Yes. If you notice the same person twice in different areas, make sure you know. And it's like they're just a super fan. They're not trying to kidnap us.
Yeah, I don't know about that, Justin.
I don't know about that either. Maybe you. You're gonna show up in like Armenia one day and start stalking the racers. Like
I'm actually surprised Justin didn't show up during y'all's lead, Burnie. Like, if you looked around, he may have just been running next to you at some point.
He'd be in the trash can.
Green hat on, like you just look next to you.
Yeah, man, that Armenia into Georgia keep racing was brutal. That was absolutely brutal.
That's the one thing that people they never appreciate it when watching because the weeks are separate. So like as a viewer, you can just be like, oh, this is this week and this is next week, and you forget that like you never stopped.
Nope.
Until you see it on our face, you're like, are you kidding me? Yeah. Like you got to keep going.
That leg, we started on top of a mountain. We went down to Geneva. We flew from Geneva to Athens. Flew from Athens to Yerevan. Did everything in Armenia, running up and down those stairs, going through that theater, driving out in the middle of nowhere in those tiny little buses to do the oil change. Then find out it's a keep racing. Come all the way back an hour back into Yerevan. Catch a train overnight to Georgia. In Georgia, we ran up going up to those gondolas. We ran up all those stairs. Did all that stuff, the detours with the candy, stabbed ourselves in the fingers, and then did that dance at the end of all that. All the dancers had to do that, the roadblock people, and then done, and that's it. It was forever. It was absolutely forever, man.
I will say, after those leads, I've at least for our double leads, I have never slept so hard in my life. Yep. The moment we get back to the hotel, I was out.
Because Paris was one of our hardest with the heat and everything, and then you were dry heaving, James Earl, and then when they said keep on racing, I was like, I physically feel like I can't do this right now. I don't know how I'm going to keep going. But like you said, people see it the next week, and it's just like, oh, a whole nother day, but it's not.
I was so happy about your Paris leg because you guys had the Parisian rap challenge, and I was like, thank God that probably won't be in our season because that just seemed utterly impossible to me. You guys killed it, though. You guys did great. James Earl, you and your mom were amazing in that.
We didn't want to do that one, but we tried.
They had amazing endurance in that one.
They did.
I'll give them that.
Listen, that's what it takes, right? I mean, everyone has a tough challenge or something they're not ready for or just a plain outright bad day, and if you can survive that bad day, that's all it takes, man.
Yeah.
Your bad day was day one, Justin. You guys survived that,
Hey, and I'm so happy we did. I mean, obviously, it would have crushed me. I mean, now, even running the full race, I'm still, crushed from what happened. But could you imagine? I can't even imagine first leg, what would have done to me mentally.
And and that's the thing. It could be anybody. That's the hardest part about it is it literally could be anybody that goes home first.
Well, just take it. I think it can at any point in time during the race you can just get that one bad luck and be out. I really do think the race is 60-40, 60% still, endurance, motivation, But there's a good chunk of it that is luck, and I would say it's about 40%, because all it takes is that one bad taxi driver just taking you off to nowhere land and getting you so far behind.
Mm-hmm. You just got to keep in your head that everyone's got that same percentage, and don't stop. Just keep going, because somebody else could be going through something way worse that you don't even know about. Like you guys, I mean, look at you guys, Krista, with the challenge. Where were you guys, in China with the Cirque du Soleil stuff? Yeah. I mean, it's like you had no idea that they were sitting on that mat waiting for you guys, you know.
And then it came down to like a cab again, but that's just those are things that are out of your control. What was that, Justin?
I paid him to drive past it. It was.
Yeah.
They never showed that, but I'm just.
I'm still waiting for my brother to look up his license plate.
So, all right, but before we move on, I just want to say thank you to everybody who was following us in Reality Rally, who donated to help us get to Reality Rally. We love each and every one of you. We got these autograph cards that we brought there, and now that we have these, we can give these to you guys. So if you want one, let us know. We appreciate it.
Is that just the two of you, or is it all of us?
No, this is just the two of us. You know, the people that are here every week that don't take week off. No, I'm just joking.
When you change the times, honey. Anyway,
I'm sorry. I'm just messing with you. But here is this is a race-worn bandana. We wore this on the race, and we're giving it to CB SE. You can't see it. SEBI1235. This is yours. Thank you very much for hanging out with us on Snapchat. All right.
It's washed.
Wow, you guys are giving away your race bandana? That's really cool.
He bought like 12 of them.
I bought 12 of them, so every day on the race I wore different ones.
Gotcha.
So 12.
And Smart. I had one that I wore that I lost on the last leg.
Oh, you lost your bandana on the last leg.
I jumped into the water and it slipped right off, and Justin saw it. And
I saw it. I didn't know
it. The entire.
I didn't realize she had won the entire leg because I was wearing so many of them.
Special.
We were so far behind at that point.
Anyway.
All right. Bernie Burns, do you have any questions for us?
No, just I want to say thanks to you guys, because you guys made last season so interesting. We all loved it. It's like, can't thank the previous season of Racers enough, because you guys are what kept the show going for years and let us have this incredible opportunity. I mean, Ashley and I were just like, when we heard they were doing a social media season, it's like we still had to go through the full audition process and everything, but it was like just so lucky to be able to like have a shot at being able to do the amazing race. It's just nuts. So.
Well, y'all
I got a million questions about your season. Like, I mean, I don't want to bore you guys. Like, I'm sure you guys have talked about it ad nauseum.
Please, he loves talking about himself.
Are you kidding?
Well, I mean, it's like, Dana is in our season. We all know Dana well and love Dana, and she's the cantankerous person in the season. Like, but that's like, that's the person that I would tune in to see. Like. I loved watching the conflict with you guys and like the early stuff with Josh and Tanner and that strategy with the express pass. Right. I loved it. Did you guys know that was going on? That they were like angling for you guys to get you out?
We had no clue that it happened so early. We did know in Africa that if we weren't first, that we would have been U-turned, but we had no idea that there was the whole for the express.
And then it was 10 against 1 since leg 1. We didn't realize
we
that.
We had no clue.
And then in the second U-turn later in the race, you guys beat Joey and Kelsey to the U-turn, right?
We were first to all 3 of them. And
Oh, you guys had 3.
Joey and Kelsey were our alliance the whole time, so we never knew that they were like double dealing. So we never even thought to U-turn them because they were our only alliance.
And we also, we didn't U-turn anybody on that leg because we had already had the confidence that we had beat people and we could beat people. And to think of U-turning a team in the back was it just wasn't something that I was comfortable doing. I said, poor Tanner and Josh are already going home. They have a speed bump to deal with, and they're already in last place. It would feel like rubbing salt in the wound. But I can understand for Kelsey and Joey because maybe they didn't know where they were, so you turn them.
Well, then my only other question is, from your season, it's, Joey and Kelsey were getting a lot of second places. Ashley and I we've had 3 second places in a row. Were you guys worried about them at all? Did you guys think that they were going to kind of draft behind you a little bit and then hit it hard at the end?
Do you want the honest answer?
Yeah, I want the honest answer, yeah.
After our first place, we didn't worry about any team. There was not a team that we were... The team that I was scared to go, there was teams that I was scared to be in the finals with, and it was Denise and James Earl, because James Earl is a little freaking computer head, and he was taking too many notes and watching too much stuff. So I knew that the final task was going to be like, if it was head to head, he was the one that could beat me. So he was the only one that I was genuinely scared of.
And I say this all the time. I hope it doesn't take anything away from Kelsey and Joey, like from their win. But I said, like it was ours to lose, and we made a decision that lost it for us. I don't feel like we got beat. I feel like we made a mistake and lost.
And it's not ego. We always felt we were 5 minutes better than Kelsey and Joey. That's not a bad thing. That we were just 5 minutes better than them.
If the race was like if there was another task, I felt like we could have made up the difference and beat them.
See,
or if it was a task that like really took time. Like I know in season 25 the containers took hours. If chair building, if there was more to it, if there was another task that really all the teams could catch up and it was anybody's race at that point, I felt like we always would have had it. But we just ran out of time, really.
Yeah, I'm just grateful for you guys. You never had to go into a building challenge versus Tyler and Corey. Those guys can build stuff so freaking fast. It drives me nuts.
We are genuinely grateful for season 28. And whether you guys know it or not, I mean, everybody knows that it's up to you guys to save the series. I mean, they're winning all the Emmys, and the move to Friday is usually a death sentence, and they're trying new things. And the support that you guys have been giving the season means a lot to us, and the support you guys have given our show is just tremendous. We're really grateful. So thank each and every one of season 28 cast members. Thank you guys.
We love it. We had a great time.
I think there was some reaction too when we first got going because it was a themed casting season, and I get the backlash a little bit because one of the things about The Amazing Race is you're always like one step away from doing it yourself, and that's kind of like the fantasy. As someone who watched it for years and years, and you guys too, I'm sure you guys went through the same thing. It's like, wow, what if that could be me? And I think that initially when the season was announced, some of that like core fan base was like, oh, I didn't have a shot. This season, it's like there was no opportunity for it. So there was them dealing with that. But then I've been really happy over time with like people like Tyler and Corey and Sherry and Cole, like watching that core audience like fall in love with them. It's been great, And
is your cast as close as it looks?
You mean close like relations, like
after
emotionally?
the race? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we see each other all the time. It's like I talk to the models on a regular basis. Kurt was just down in Austin he was playing an ultimate frisbee match down here, and he came over and spent the day with us. So yeah, I'd say we're all really close. Yeah.
Well, we are all looking forward to seeing you at some of these events. We have Hearts of Reality coming up in the end of August. If you guys will put our links up on our page for that. We hear that is the best one that everybody wants to go to. So hopefully we can meet you at some of those events, or maybe at the finale this year. We'll wait. I haven't got an email or anything yet. I don't know. Nobody texts me. I mean, you all got my number, right?
I think it's I know
Justin
it's a responsibility.
Will show up anyway.
Yeah.
Like the
He'll just invite himself.
Yeah, it's it's one of those things like
he's like, we got problems, static.
No, there's a tradition in the race that I can't talk about, but that because we're in spoiler territory here. But I hope to see you at the finale.
I know what you're saying.
Okay.
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah.
We got it. All right, so Burnie, we are going to get into our recap. You're welcome to hang out. I understand you're busy. You got to go. And Ashley, hopefully we'll get you on the show at another later date, hopefully. But thank you for hanging out with us.
I'll probably drop off because I'm going to hang out with my kids, but I'll keep the broadcast going, and I'll get in the chat with you guys as well.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, Burnie.
Thank you for all the Rooster Teeth. You guys watching, please hang out and check out the rest of the recap. And if you like it, a little thumbs up. The share button would be awesome. If you're going to leave, click the share button before you go. All right, you guys ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. I'm starting off with this is episode 8, and they're still getting full intros. I'm so jealous.
Yeah. I'm so jealous.
We got like 3 or 4 full intros the whole season, and they get full intros every time.
I feel like I waited to go on The Amazing Race for the intro.
I'm gonna say we needed that sassy hair flip every week from Tristan and Tiffany.
No, I'm about to just make my own on Instagram. I'm gonna make my own for all of us. Just keep posting it every week.
No, we'll film one for this show.
Every time we watched it, my mom was like, I don't understand. She's like, where's the intro? Where's the intro?
Where's the
That's my favorite
credits?
part.
Where's the credits?
Where's the intro? I'm like, I don't know. We got too much material, that's why.
Yeah.
Too much material. All right, so the full intro gets through, and I learned something that pretty much blew my mind. 20% of all the world's cranes are now in Dubai because there's so much building going on there.
That's crazy.
20% are in Dubai. It's this big. The world's crane.
So cool.
All right, shut up.
You know what kind of blew my mind even more than that is the first 5 teams that left this lead were 40 minutes apart. And then Tyler and Corey were like 2 hours behind.
2 hours. I
like,
know.
all
We
of them.
saw that. Oh, my goodness.
Damn.
They
suck.
They were either
No,
really
they
terrible
don't.
at the dance.
I was always 2 hours behind everyone, Tyler and Corey, don't worry.
And this is when you start to see this episode right from the beginning. As soon as Tyler and Corey make their appearance, you see fake smiles across people's faces.
I
and like,
loved
fake,
that scene
and you know,
so much.
No.
I loved it because, like I said, when we were talking about, like, you always wait to see at breakfast who's going to be eliminated, and then you're always like, oh, yeah,
They're back. The green team's still here.
yeah, and it was so obvious. Like, of course they want to, like, see them, but they don't.
No.
They don't.
So,
they wanted to see Blair. And the
But I like that because it shows that people care, and it shows that people are going to start to, like, show their, like, their fangs.
Claws
You can
are
only do it
out.
for so long. Yeah. I mean, social media people make a little bit of money, but $1 million changes everybody. It doesn't matter. These people are not that rich.
Well, it's also pride, too, because here's the thing, like, let's say, like, you are just, like, billionaire and you're running the race, like, you can't buy, like, the race. You can't buy that experience. So it's also, like, a pride thing. Like, you want to be that team that goes far and goes to the end and makes it and wins.
Right. Somebody in the recap, Angelica, said that I never realized how badly I needed intros until I watched episode 8 of season 27, and I couldn't name more than half the racers. And do you know how, like, that was a big problem with us, where people said that they didn't know who people were, they didn't know names of us, they just knew, like, the green team and the reporters and the cheerleaders, because our names were lost because we didn't have our intro. So
It's
That intro.
Keep
That
the
intro.
intro. It's, what, 30 seconds?
I think it's 42 seconds, actually.
But I want to know why.
Boom, I
What's
think.
the reason?
42.7 seconds.
Like, I want to pop out of a bush like Sherry and Cole. Like, come on. This is. I'm so bitter.
Well,
But-
Tyler and Corey were frolicking and literally frolicking to the Cavs. Why does that not surprise me? All right, so we appreciate you guys. If you're not in the live chat, pop that live chat up. It's really going. They're having a lot of fun down there. So the teams are heading to Dubai, and we find out that they're getting a self-drive leg. What?
And this is the Travelocity Gnome Bled. Like, those are 2 things I'm so jealous of.
Wait, did you catch the sponsor?
It was Jeep.
They got a new car sponsor.
Yeah, new Jeep sponsor.
I saw.
Yeah, it was crazy, but I thought they'd be driving Jeeps.
Well, because it looks like it was a mid-season, like
So,
they added them
It
during the
was
season.
Mitsubishi, something. It was not forward.
Go and smell the roses. And I read somewhere that Tyler and Corey were very excited to actually be able to hold the gnome.
They want to get in a gnome.
My favorite, what the episode
gnome.
should have been, the episode
gnome.
should have been Tyler's quote about, I just want to get to
know.
Yeah.
I
That should have been a quote.
It
They should have
should've
got
been.
another quote.
You know what? I'm convinced though. They have. I'm sorry for everyone else. They have the best quote of every single episode, but they can't give it all to them, so they just find someone else. Because they do every time we're on here. We're like, that should have been the episode name.
Pretty
they
much.
They got to even it out.
Yeah, and I hate it because it sounds like you're kissing up to the most popular team, but they're quotable. There's a reason he's quotable.
Well, they speak in like puns and like language that we get, like so.
I love it. That's why they're just so funny.
But there is no automatic. There's no stick shift. They're all driving automatic. So
Tyler said he's
And-
been robbed all season for the title.
Yeah,
You're not beating my
he
record,
does have
Tyler.
the funniest one.
you're not beating my record.
Oh, you got a record for that too?
Most quotes, yo.
Okay.
But so I like the new sponsor's going to be Jeep, and if they actually had Jeeps, they wouldn't have got stuck in the sand like these Mitsubishis did. So I'm glad that they grabbed the gnomes and the super ferret. So when we hear that they're heading there and they got to get this detour, races or oasis, the first thing that I'm thinking of is
before we
camels.
get to detours, can I say one thing about that traditional greeting?
The
That was-
women.
Oh yeah.
The women were left out, and I did not like that.
Well,
You know
it's
what I
just-
didn't like?
Col-
I didn't like that they got to touch noses and we got spit on from our tradition.
I was thinking the same thing, but I feel
right.
like it was completely like a culture thing, like the same thing in India, how when I would ask a direction, nobody would answer me or look at me in the eyes. It was maybe something that I heard they weren't even allowed in the tent. So
See, that's not right.
no, well, we went through it too in India, like being 2 girls. So I know it stinks. It's not a fun feeling. So I want to know more about that little tent.
Yeah, and I just want to note that right from the beginning, Kurt and Brody are struggling. They get the clue is 4th, and then after they leave, they get stuck in the sand. So right off from the beginning, they're starting off like from behind. So that it's not like they're taking the lead and they're running from coast to coast with it. They're fighting.
Side note, Tyler said Cherry had to drive her car full of men to that camp and wasn't even allowed in the camp. That is BS. That's
well, we
crazy.
can't change the world's customs. We could just open
Why
people's
not?
eyes
We are
to
doing so much with this recap.
it.
Let's change the world.
And for those of you wondering, Uchenna will be joining us as soon as we're done with this part of the recap. He'll be joining us, and he's got a very special announcement for people who want to get into reality television. So stick around. Winner of Season 7, the guy that beat Boston, Rob, is going to join us and give us some secrets. So stick around for that. Uchenna joining us in about 25, 30 minutes. All right, sorry about that. All right, so we head to the detour. Races or Oasis? You have to race a camel. Both teams need to beat this camel in a 2-kilometer or 1.2-mile race. If you don't beat them on the first time, you get a head start. Or Oasis, where you have to lead 4 camels through the desert on a 1-mile trek through the sand.
Sign me up for that one.
Now, the super fan in me knows that whenever they've had camels on the race, they've always sucked. Camels have always been terrible on the race. So there was no way in the world that I would have wanted to take 4 camels on a mile hike.
I would have wanted to do that.
I would have done that. I would have
did
did Oasis 100%.
See, I think Mom and I would have done races just because she does a lot of bike stuff, like at the gym. So I think we would have like gone towards that, and I'm not sure if it would have been smart for us. But
yeah,
we would
but
have done
you
it on the
guys
second
killed
time.
it. You guys killed it when we had to do that. I was thinking about that when you did the water bikes. So I was basing it off that, and like my legs were jello after that, and I don't know. Tiff probably would have wanted to do the race, but I would have been like, let's just walk the camels. But the only thing is, the reason why Oasis was a little risky is because camels are like so stubborn, and it's kind of out of your control. So what if something would have happened? And I don't like when things are like not in my control, I like to do the detours that are. So it is like a little more risky.
And all I think about in this, I can't remember the season off the top of my head, but the first team that was out was because of donkeys that they wouldn't lead. Like there was just one stubborn mule that would not go. And
right, and that's what you think about. Like, what if that were to happen? But that's just the chance you take. So
I'd be slapping.
I would have been like,
to get mine to move.
But no, literally, I don't know if Justin, do you remember the season? It was the day guy and his friend it was the very first lead, and they had to like lead donkeys, and they got out.
Yeah, I don't remember their names. I can't tell you that I remember a lot of the first boots.
Somebody said Season 12. Season 12 is happening in the chat room.
Yeah, somebody else knows. Ooh.
Yeah, Michael Harmstone's not here. He had to go to sleep, so he's normally the one that pops him up there. All right, so Tyler and Corey and Burnie and Ashley are the first ones to try it. They get up, they line up, and they get dusted. And then they both realize, like, something is wrong here. Ashley looks at Burnie, and she's not giving up, but Burnie throws in the towel for her. And they're going to switch. And on the way to the cab, she gives up. She not gives up. Her body gives out on her, and she is just in despair. Like,
Michael James said,
I'm going to give her some props because even when like Burnie's like, do I need to pull over? She's like, no, just keep like in between dry heaves. She's like, huh, no, keep going, keep going.
I suggest everybody go and watch that extra footage for that 5 minutes because you're going to see how tough she is and what a great relationship they have, like I was saying before. Because
if it's geo-blocked, I'll put it on our page too.
Yeah, you got to show that one.
Okay.
Really quick, Michael Jenks in the chat room, he said, question, could you throw the first camel race and then go back to the start knowing you had a lead and race with fresh legs? But it looked like after Zach and Rachel had already started, it looked like they had to finish that and then go back. So
because he said we didn't finish, we can't, because remember they tried to do it again. He's like, we didn't finish the first one.
Right.
So I think you have to complete it from what I know.
Seems to make sense, and we see Kurt and Brody are the only team to really have a chance at beasting it, and they give everything they got. And I didn't realize that they barely won. I didn't realize that Kurt was in better shape than Brody. I thought Brody was the super athlete, but it seems like Kurt is in much better shape.
Tyler confirmed that in the chat. He said, yes, you could throw the first, but you had to actually cross the finish line, meaning you could go slow, but you still had to cross the finish line and then pedal all the way back and then race again. So
but at that point, it's like, just give it your all. Like, you might as well just, like, I understand the logic, but at that point, just, like, try and go for it and see the best you can do.
What you're capable of and the difference that you have to make up for the next race.
Right. Yeah, no, Kurt, seriously, I know you guys talked about him, but the past 2 times I haven't been here, like, he is the real deal. Like,
yeah, he's the MVP.
He's
of
a
that team.
great racer in, like, every aspect.
I will say, in my opinion, right now, he is the best individual racer. I'm not sure Kurt and Brody are the strongest team this season right now, even though they have one of the best averages, but I think Kurt is a very, very strong racer.
Yeah, he's balanced. He's got a good balance. He's smart. He's athletic. He's calm. Yeah, he's awesome. So they nail it. And he can dance salsa too.
And he can salsa. Sorry.
So Burnie and Ashley switch. They head to Oasis. Kurt and Brody get up and they beast it. And then over there we also see Zach and Rachel. Rachel's a little hesitant to do it. She says that she doesn't think she could do it. Zach kind of pushes her there. They get there. They get on the bikes and they start racing. And then she says, "I'm scared to race fast."
She said it before.
She said it twice before that.
Thank you. Okay.
She said I was uncomfortable.
Me and Justin.
No. He
Yes,
said
yes.
she does not like going fast on bikes twice.
I watched
And
it.
even if you account for editing.
Me and
She said
Justin
she's
have been arguing
uncomfortable.
about this because
He said it,
she
but
said like 2 or 3 times
Okay.
that she's uncomfortable, she's not good at it.
Uncomfortable.
Okay.
That's
No,
the same
Justin, you're
thing.
wrong.
Shut up.
Someone let me talk. Uncomfortable still is a reason for, uncomfortable still is a reason enough. If my partner was like, listen, I'm uncomfortable doing this, I'm not going to push them to do something they don't want to do. We go to the next one. So whether it was I'm scared of going fast or uncomfortable, we could argue to blue in the face, green in the face, Justin. She didn't want to do it, so you don't go there.
And that's what I told him. I said,
No?
Justin, she said 3 times in 3 different ways, and Justin's like, well, in the mind of a man, saying you're afraid is different than saying. I said, no. She said,
It's true.
no.
Like you were uncomfortable doing the tango. I knew you could do it.
Okay, and I was
pushed
also
you.
uncomfortable.
You pushed
But
me.
that was
I
a
did it.
want to do the rap, but you.
roadblock. She
But it
had
doesn't
to do
matter.
it.
She was uncomfortable doing it. She pushed through. I knew she could do it. She did it. So if it's a bike race, she said, I like riding bikes. And then she said, I'm uncomfortable
everyone in
going
the chat
fast.
disagrees with Justin.
Thank you.
She
Thank
said-
you.
Her first statement, I like riding bikes. I'm uncomfortable going fast. It's different than I'm scared to go fast.
Oh my gosh. Can I have a
Justin.
new partner if we ever get invited back to All Stars? Please, anybody but Justin.
God.
Michael Jenks, be my partner, please.
Go ahead. You can be
Thank
first
you.
boot.
Susan Mitchell.
Can I say one thing, Justin? No. Can I say one thing? Just one thing.
Of course.
There are 2 distinct times in this episode where she's literally, the words out of her mouth, and I wrote this down, where I don't like going fast on bikes, they scare me. She said it twice. She
I
said it
love
once.
James Earl's charts. Work those charts.
We just watched it.
I just watched it too, Justin, and I wrote down this quote because I knew this would happen.
What wasn't
Seriously,
scared?
shut up. Shut up.
Relax.
Okay?
Relax.
Don't
She
tell
said
me
it twice in there.
Guys, you're
And
making
even if
my
you account
jaw
for
cry.
editing, when they got to the detour and they got in the car that took them to the actual location, she said
again.
it in that. She said it in there, so she did say it.
And he's going to argue until, like Krista said, he's green in the face that saying you're afraid, I'm
Green.
scared is different than I am uncomfortable, I don't want to do this. You know, I guess in the mind of a man,
No,
his
in
mind.
the mind of an English
that-
teacher, uncomfortable and afraid they're not synonyms. You can't replace
Okay,
them.
but the
Uncomfortable and afraid.
overall
I'm
message,
uncomfortable
English
because
teacher.
I'm afraid.
Oh,
but the
Corey did
overall
an
message is,
uncomfortable.
I'm not okay with this. I don't feel comfortable. I don't want to do this. I there.
You know what? To each his own, as we say in Brooklyn. Move on.
So they got she was uncomfortable or she was scared. They switched. And she went to the other
I had to
Oasis.
put it in again.
Sherry and Cole eventually show up after getting lost, and they power through and beat it on their second try. Sherry, she's a beast. I'm very impressed with Sherry's athletic abilities at this task. All right, now over at Oasis is where some drama happens. Let's get right to it. Matt and Dana. Matt is cool, calm, collected, has a flannel on in the desert, literally not sweating is the definition of cool. It looks like Dana is frustrated that he is just so cool and not having any issues, and she's having issues. It's getting frustrated with him. And
they remind me so much of us.
Here's the thing, though. I thought a lot of people gave Dana crap for this part of the episode, and I'm not. Like, Dana's going to do a little crap for me later. Just prepare yourself, Dana, if you're watching this. But, like, during this part, I actually thought she was hilarious.
Okay.
She was hot and tired, and she's like, how am I hot and tired? You're, like, in a flannel shirt over there, and you're just chilling.
Yes,
like,
he was in his dance
skipping
gear.
along.
He was in his dance gear, like, just chilling.
Well, see, this is where I understood where Dana was coming from. Like, she was hot, she was sweaty, she was struggling, and there's Matt just like, this is great.
Okay,
this
wait.
is so wonderful.
If you're gonna talk in our chat and say Dana should be killed, please don't say that.
Yeah, just
Don't
leave
say
the chat
that.
then.
Don't say
We-
that.
You've been warned. You've been warned.
You've
we
been
can
warned.
boot you from the chat. Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't tolerate that. This is not a haters board. This ain't haters room.
Yeah.
If you want to go hate on the main page. This
Yeah,
is the
we don't
place
like
to
that
talk
talk.
about yeah.
This is
We
Paul.
love Dana.
I identified with Dana because she was struggling, and Matt was just pulling the camel's along thing, and it was all great. And she just wanted him to, I guess, identify and sympathize with how she was feeling. And I tried to equate this to Justin, but of course he had to disagree with me. But I said, this is just like when I was in the recycling bins, and Justin's like, oh, let me just have tea with the locals. This is just what a great experience this is. And it's like, are you serious? Get yourself together and help me out. Like, be with me and be my partner.
I didn't take away from what was happening.
Defend yourself, yes.
I'm sorry. Let's just say whatever you want. I'll just sit here and go for it. You're right.
Thank
You're
you.
absolutely right.
Thank you. That's all I wanted to
You're
hear.
so right.
Oof.
All right.
Oof.
So, they're having some issues with the camel in the desert. Zach and Rachel, Burnie and Ashley don't have too many issues. They all accomplish their task, and they head to the Atlantis at Aqua Venture Water Park. They put on some skimpy, tight gold bathing suits, and they have to jump into a shark tank, grab a puzzle, and finish it. Kind of Survivor-esque challenge here, where you jump in the water, grab some puzzle pieces, bring it back to shore, and put the puzzle together. What did you guys think of this task?
Can I just say how hilarious Dana was when she came out of the bait? Like, she came out and she had like the shoes in front of her, and she was like, "I'm having all types of trouble up here."
Yeah. And
Wow,
the fact that
so
like
hard.
Corey made her bathing suit looser, it's just even
Well,
like
too,
that icing on the cake.
The cut alone of the bathing suit, it was like
Those were
really
like
low cut.
low cut, and they were like push up. Like they were asking, like the producers were asking for that footage.
I'll
Like-
take our white bathing suits over what they had any day.
They're traditional in
I
Abu
want
Dhabi.
You want the
I want
gold?
those gold ones.
I like the tops that we had over those tops.
Oh. No, no, I want if those were like rhinestones too, like a gold rhinestone bathing suit.
Oh,
Let the
God.
sharks
Sherry
come.
said that the tops were nearly impossible to adjust, so I'm sure for fuller women it was probably, there was no way getting around cleavage or being somewhat revealing.
And I'm sorry. I mean, if you know Abu Dhabi, the only thing I know in Abu Dhabi is this island. This island that they built into an island like Palm, and this beautiful, huge building out there. And I know it's out on the water. Now, all the teams are heading to this place. That it's pretty much the only real landmark that everybody knows. And poor Sherry and Cole still get lost. They're heading out into the desert when you have to head towards the water. At least head towards the water.
But Justin, no one's saying like, you know, the Statue of Liberty is the only thing in New York to find. Now go find it. Like, come on. Like,
Well, you
just
know
so
you gotta look
where
at the
it's
water,
kinda
not in the middle of the desert. They're heading inland.
Justin, there's like highways and there are cities. Come on now.
I'm sorry. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm from New York. You know from Alabama there's not a lot of speed lights and highways.
Oh, we're gonna go that route. We're really gonna go that route.
Guys, we are like going at it today.
I know. All right. So they jumped into the shark tank. They grabbed their puzzle, and this is where we get some drama. The drama that we love. We talked a little bit about Burnie earlier, who started, I guess was one that kind of led the drama without really leading the drama. You jump into the tank, and there's 3 teams or 3 or 4 teams trying to get the puzzle going. They can't figure out if they get it in the front or in the back. And Burnie's the one that figures out it's in the front. Now, before all this happens, Kurt and Brody are there before.
Please, that's good.
Before any team, before any other team shows up, Brody, who, if you guys have been paying attention, has only done like 2 roadblocks up to this point, and this is the 8th leg, finally gets to do a roadblock where you have to put 4 letters inside of a puzzle. And he is having all sorts of issues. Is it me, or does this not seem like that difficult of a puzzle?
Here's the mistake he was making.
I read that. Well, okay. It's obviously sorry, James. It's a lot easier to say. It was so easy. I heard that it was 30 pounds, and they had to twist it a certain way and everything. But I'm gonna use a Justin line if we're gonna go there at wastedexpresspass.com.
Yeah.
I will say the issue was when he was doing it, it looked like he was trying to put the magnets on the back side, and it wasn't working for him. So I mean, just flip it to the other side. But here's the thing that, like, it's a lot easier sitting on my couch, and I'm recognizing that. But when you're looking at it, the back side just had the indentions that said race. And on the front side, it had, like, the amazing, and then it had race, and it was a different color. So, like, if you're going to pick one of the sides, I would go for the side that has, like, the more detail, the more writing.
Yeah.
All that being
what's
said,
going to be filmed? I mean, the front is going to be.
All that being said, like I said, it's a lot easier for me to sit my little ass on the couch and be like, this is easy.
Right, like people are probably doing with us.
That slide puzzle, just like a slide puzzle.
So I completely I understand that. I just, with the whole getting into it more, we'll talk about like the Express Pass. Like, I'm not saying the puzzle wasn't hard at all, but
I mean, yeah, there's two reasons to use the Express Pass: to get first and to not get last. And that's the only 2 acceptable reasons ever to use the Express Pass. But in my book, we would never use the Express Pass unless it was the last leg that we had to use it, or we were about to get eliminated. We would never have used it in that situation.
I completely agree with you, Justin. Like, at this point, you still have Ned Sled, and you never know what would happen. Like,
what if there's a U-turn the next leg?
Right, that's what I'm thinking. Like, you never know what's coming up. So unless you're trying to just fight to stay alive, don't use it.
Yeah, I wouldn't even use it for first place. I think that that's something that's given to you. God forbid something happens, that's your like one lifeline. Like, just speaking for me, because I guess maybe I've never, been like in a situation where I could win, but still, like, that's something that, or if he used it, I know he said in the extra footage he was doing the puzzle for 30 minutes and then he gave up, so he was there for a good amount of time. But nobody was with him at the roadblock, so there wasn't that added pressure. So if like maybe 2 people were next to him and he was doing it and then he was like, no, I want first, then I could understand it more. But there was nobody there. So
yeah,
it
seemed like
felt
like just wanted the first.
Yeah, and then it was like, well, was it more of like a competition? Like, you just want that first place? Like, did you use it wisely?
I think they're suffering from the same thing that the Texans did. Right now, they're feeling themselves. They feel like, we got this. Let's use this. Stay in first place. That was our almost close leg. Now let's keep dominating. And I think the same thing's going to happen that happened to the Texans. They're going to get to the U-turn.
That's what I was going at when I was speaking about Kurt and Brody last week, when you guys were like, well, why haven't you mentioned them as being a strong team? Like, I completely think they have brains, they're smart, they're physically strong, but I feel like with teams like this is when they start to get targeted, and things like this happen with the Express Pass, or maybe a U-turn or something, like something was going to happen, and that's what kind of I was like implying by that. And so I just think it maybe wasn't the right time to do it.
All right, so Brody keeps trying to put him in the back. He can't figure out that they got to rest on the front. Use the Express Pass, head on out of there, get lost. And while they're lost, 3 teams are fighting it out. Bernie's the only one to figure it out. They ask, hey, Burnie, is it in the front or in the back? And he's like, see ya. And then, pew, and he's out. And then there's a foot race, another race for first place. At 7 or either 8 out of 8 or 7 out of 8 legs. It's been a race for first place.
Well,
which I
guys,
love.
you have to understand too, because you think it's because everybody's on the same flight and bunched so much that's why we're seeing so much of a close race. Because our flights were all separated, so I maybe never even seen you at one point because you were on a different, a completely different flight.
Well, yeah, but they were bunched. If they were bunched, it was only bunched in 2 groups usually. It was 2 flights, so it was just to separate the front pack from a backpack. But Kurt and Brody started in 4th, then they got stuck in this leg, and they fought hard, and they got back. They used that express pass. Then they get lost, and Burnie, and they fight to a first-place finish, and as you heard, 30 seconds was the difference between 1st and 2nd place, and Kurt and Brody boxing them out at the finish line.
Crazy.
To get there. So Kurt and Brody finish 1st and get their 4th first place out of 8 legs. They've won half of the legs so far.
I love how they didn't even know how many legs they won. Did you see that?
Wait, what?
No, I missed that.
You didn't see it? Oh, it was on the guys. What did we talk about extra footage land? That was supposed to be one of our things.
Yeah, I know.
They
well,
were
I have 4 people on the show. I can give you guys something.
They were like, so Phil was like, do you know how many legs you won? They were like, wait, 2? Is it 3? Like 2? And then Ashley told them how many legs they won.
Do you think they're keeping a notebook? Like, I know you guys took you guys had a notebook, and obviously we see Burnie and Ashley had a notebook.
I think that Kurt is smart, and he's taking.
Let's find out.
Any
season 28 races? Do you know for sure if people were taking a notebook to prepare for the final leg?
Or just as a memory. I mean, we did it to keep memories, but we also knew that.
We knew we would write leg 1, leg 2.
So after Burnie gets it, people peek over and see that you have to put it into the front, and as soon as that happens, Corey does what Tyler and Corey do. They get to puzzles, they figure them out, they do the task, and they're gone. He kills it right after that and then heads out. Sherry is, I have a feeling Sherry's going to get a lot of fan mail after this episode. Cole is going to be very upset with all the fan mail.
She's going to be like a new NFL cheerleader. They're going to try and recruit her.
So you're gonna call her and Denise and start Real Housewives of Alabama.
Is this am I allowed to talk about Cole? He's over age, right?
Yeah,
he's 19.
He's legal. 19. He's legal.
His body.
Well, I said that about Sherry too. They both had amazing bodies.
Their whole family's jacked.
Sherry having 6
their whole
kids,
family is just
Cole being
attractive.
young.
Oh my God.
Goodness.
Yeah, I'm pretty jealous of Cole's body, and yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on.
Let's move on.
Did you guys see the Frozen thing comparing
That
Cole
was
to
so funny.
the best?
He looks exactly like him.
He does.
So, all right, we have to head to Poseidon's Revenge, which is the big water slide. If you remember, the water slide, the famous I'm Not Getting in the Water slide with that country star Kanan and Micah, and she wouldn't get on the water slide. She had on those water wings. And if she would have got on that water slide, the Globetrotters might have never been on 3 separate episodes.
I don't think they would have been. But, whatever.
They would have got eliminated, and their whole history of the Amazing Race would have changed. But she didn't get on it. Yeah. All right, so here we go. Poseidon's Revenge. I would have dragged
Tiffany by her hair. Is there a rule can you?
Yeah, you can't touch your partner.
Yeah.
You can't beat your partner up to get on. All right, well.
Maybe if it's girl on girl, but he got in a lot of trouble for picking her up and trying to throw her down there.
That's what I would have done.
So, all right, the boat race that turns into a foot race. We got that.
We haven't talked about Matt and Dana in the car yet.
Okay.
Oh.
I mean, come on.
All right, I know. I got Kurt and Brody. We got Burnie and Ashley, and here now we got Matt and Dana, and we're going to talk about Matt and Dana, Tyler and Corey finishing up here. So Matt and Dana get lost. Dana freaks out a little bit, jumps out of the cab. They get into an argument. She refuses to get back in.
It wasn't the cab they were driving, but she didn't jump out of the cab. She jumped out because Matt was driving, and he couldn't follow her directions. And this is what I have to say about that. I kind of felt for Dana. I know how she talked to Matt wasn't right. I know there was attitude behind it and frustration behind it. and everything that you don't see, stress. But I also felt for her when she was actually saying, go out and make a left. And he was like, wait, are you sure? Where are we going? And then I understand because maybe she was giving too many instructions. She was giving him all of the details at once instead of, I guess what he wanted was step-by-step instructions. Go out, make a left.
Right.
Okay, at the roundabout, second turn, make a right.
That's exactly what I thought.
That's what he wanted. But I still felt like there was some disconnect with what she was saying and what he needed her to say. So I don't excuse her, but I understand where she was coming from. And it was hard to watch, but I feel like we've been there. Where
I just feel like people, I don't know if it was just me, but people were making like what this girl did. Like I don't know. Like when I was reading everything, yes, it was bad. Yes, it was like they had a fight, but the way like people were talking about it, like it made like she like had a gun to his head. Like it was.
No, the thing that I didn't like is she quit. She quit on the race.
That's
right.
The one
Well,
thing
she said
everything else I can understand.
Okay, yeah. Well, this is just I agree with Diana, but like I always say, like I have a side to me, and I have that personality. I have that East Coast personality where like you're not going to tell me what to do. And like I said, I was saying to Corey or whatever, like if I ever went on the race with a guy, like you would see me as a completely different racer, because like when you go on with a friend, like I always say, it's different. Like you can control yourself, but there's just, you're more comfortable, and I guess your like emotions come out, and it's easier to fight with someone. Where that's
there was other reasons they were fighting too. I don't want to talk about them.
And you know how to push your like buttons. I mean, Jess and I, we've been together for 8 years.
100%. I could.
It's so different.
It's so different.
Yeah. So that's why like I'm upset with her. But I also, like, that looked like how we fight sometimes, where I'm just like, you know what, just shut up, I hate you, get out of my face, and then the next time we're, like, kissing and nothing.
Like, I've gotten to fights with boyfriends over, like, Starbucks like that. Like, I can't even imagine, like, going on the race.
I'm like Duncan!
Yeah, like, let me out of the car. Like, I'm not getting back in with you.
Go ahead, James Earl.
Go ahead, James Earl.
The thing is that I don't mind the fighting from her. I think she's actually hilarious with half the crap that she says. The part that really just got under my skin that I'm gonna give her crap for is when she got out of the car and they were trying to find directions, and she's just sitting over there on the cell phone, be like, sometimes you just need to know when to throw the towel in, but go try to find it. Like, I hate that part of the attitude. Nothing else. I'm not knocking her for anything else. Like the frustrations, the yelling, like it happens. You get stressed. The part that I didn't like is when she was quitting. And I had this with Mom during one of the leads, and I had to like sit down and be like, you can't do this. And the thing is, like, at that moment, Dana, you're in lead 8 of the race. Like, whatever feelings you have, swallow them for just momentarily, make it to the mat, and then have them all out. Just like throw them all out there. But you're 4 leads away from the chance of winning $1 million and like winning the race. Like, just swallow it for that moment.
Well, I saw that too. And then the other thing that that was frustrating that I noticed from Matt is he was asking those like, well, should I do this? Should I ask this person? And you can't ask those, what should I do? You just do it, and you either make apologies for it later, or it works and you just keep moving forward. But he was saying like, well, should we go here? Should we ask this question? And James Earl, like you said, Dana was already checked out at that point. She wasn't going to answer. She wasn't going to help him in any way, shape, or form make those decisions at that point because she was so upset. But, I mean, it was tough to watch, but you really can't judge anybody unless you are in their shoes. So
right, and
that's all I have to say.
Like her feelings, like I believe her feelings were 100% real, but I do think she just needed to like momentarily just swallow them and like handle it and make it to the mat. Just made it to the mat.
Right.
Yes.
Right. I mean, we all. I mean, James Earl, like you said, you and Mom had those moments. Kristen, Tiffany, yours are different because maybe you're. You know, I mean, like you said, racing with your friend is different, but I know Justin and I had maybe a couple more moments than they showed, but they're there and they happen, and it's not pretty to watch back, but like I say to Justin, that is how we argue, and for people that know us, that is how we are when we're upset with each other. But we kiss, we make up, and it's all over.
Yeah, it's such a small part of who we are, and it just seemed like such a bigger part of the race. But let's finish this off and get to some stuff because we got Uchenna, winner of season 7, joining us in about 10 minutes.
I'm putting Dana and Matt both in check for the reasons that I stated before. Matt, you have to be able to make decisions and move forward, and Dana, you can't quit.
Well, you guys, sorry, extra footage land again, but they have the entire car scene in the extra footage. So if you watch it, there's a lot more you're going to see of the car. And there is a point where he said, like, do I make a right here? And then she said, just go straight. I don't know. And then that's when he missed the turn. So there's a lot of that, like, car scene you guys should watch, too.
Well, really quick, Michael Jenks asked if can we take a guess what the final memory challenge might be for this season?
Yes. Ooh. You guys think about that? All right, cool. Uchenna's joined us. All right, Uchenna, we're just finishing up here. We'll get to you in just a sec.
Oh, yes.
But, all right, he knows how to get in and out.
Super fan moment?
Super fan. All right. Oh, well, let me finish up how we finished here. Burnie and Ashley got their second place in a row, getting reminiscent of Joey and Kelsey. Matt and Dana, they get lost, but they come in. Tyler and Corey, they get to the mat and have a cute moment where they want a kiss, one of the greetings, the Eskimo kisses. And Phil is a little hesitant there.
That was so funny.
That's like 2 weeks in a row that
Tyler made Phil blush for sure.
Yeah.
2 weeks in a row here. So that was fun to watch. And then Sherry and Cole, they push through. It's like the darkest night outside. They get to the end in a very good mood, and they get saved yet again. Is anybody upset about this?
I'm not, just because the leads
not there.
They fall. And it's not their fault. It's just like they have survived every lead up to this point, and the fact that this is a non-elim, you can't fault Sherry and Cole for that.
Yeah, people are like, oh my God, like seriously, again, like they're just like, how is this happening? So lucky, it's like, what it is, it fell the way it fell, you know. That's how it works. I got a continuation. James Earl got a continuation. Like it happens. It's just the way it falls. So. To fault them for that or say like they don't deserve to be in the race, that's just silly.
Uchenna, winner of season 7, is hanging out with us.
What's up?
How you guys doing?
Hi.
So we're finishing up here. If you want to just chime in. We'll get to the awesome thing that you got coming up soon.
All right.
A bunch of viewers hang out, and he's going to be here and explain how you could get on with your favorite show.
You know, it's interesting because I've watched that last episode and I laughed the entire time. It was amazing because, you know what, being an old school, I was like old school, single-digit shows. So uphill both ways in the snow is so much easier for you guys now, right? It's not really that easy. I mean, you guys, it's hard for me to watch the show now because I got to do it again. At one point or another, they got to let me back in there.
Yeah, well, if they have a winter season, you know you'll be back.
No, we need to win. No, you won.
Well, my idea for season 30 was the best of the best. You take the 11 best teams to ever win, to run the race, whether they won or not, put them up and see who's the best to ever do it. $2 million on the line. Let's go.
I like that. I also like a mix-up season. Get them all together and then mix everybody up and see what happens.
I would.
She would love that.
I would love that. I wouldn't want to race with anybody other than Justin.
Oh my
again.
God!
I mean,
Go race with James Earl. Have fun. All right, let's get to the Krista hair flip. Krista, who's getting your hair flip?
Well, I spoke about it before, but it wasn't just because he was on the show. My hair flip is going to Burnie. I can't really do it. Sorry, I'm tired. The way that he just completely made that decision to switch to detour at the right moment, and the way he completely stuck with Ashley and just made her feel so much better about everything. I really think that shows their character and just what kind of racers they are.
All right, James Earl, seal clap. Who's getting the legendary James Earl seal clap?
My steel clap this week is going to Miss Sherry because she absolutely dominated on that bite, and I loved like every minute of it.
Yay!
Yes. I'm giving the Superfan Award to Kurt because I think he's carrying the team that is dominating this race. And if you can carry a team that's dominating this race, then you deserve it. I don't know if he's gotten enough credit. So not for anything specific, but for just dominating and being maybe the best player this season. Whoa. Arguably. I mean, there's one or two people that could say they might.
I think he's like under the radar. Like a lot of people don't realize that. That's
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I got love for Matt, okay? Because Dana is a nightmare, okay? The fact that he's dragging her along, big props to him because
who's dragging who though? Is she dragging Matt or is Matt dragging her?
She's highly competitive. I gotta hand that to her, but that this is the exact way you lose the race. This is how you get thrown out.
Well, because I'm actually really happy to have you because the only thing that I really, not that the only thing I remember, but the most impactful moment from your season was the fast forward that you and Joyce took. Yeah. I remember watching that, and it was kind of when I first got into the show, and you went for the fast forward, and it was the head shaving, and I remember Joyce crying, and I actually started crying as well because watching how emotional she was, and then for her to just keep telling herself, it's just hair. It's just hair, but how important that is to a woman. And, thinking of women who lose their hair to cancer, and we were just at Reality Rally that benefited Michelle's place. Yeah. It's a tough thing to, try to mentally convince yourself it's just hair. It grows back. This will make a difference. If this does well for us, then we could win. But I just remember how impactful that moment was for me to watch and to kind of go with her through that and just keep tell myself, you're right, it is just hair. It is just hair, and how brave she was for doing it. I mean, that'll stick with me.
Yeah, my love for her, my respect for her just went up so many notches at that moment because it was just a game. And as far as I was concerned, you were either in the way or on the way for me to do whatever it took to get down the road on that, So. Right. Yeah, I still talk to her about that, all the time, It's
kind of the same thing because you don't have hair. Justin shaves his head as well. That I know for him, he would have been like, do it, and I would have been in that position where Joyce is like, I don't want to be in the way of this, and I don't know that I would have.
You want to be supportive and be like, I love you, you could do this, I love you, you could do this, and then in the back of your head, you're like, you're not leaving without shaving your head. Your hair grows back $1 million.
But you recognize that that's sort of that person's moment to really process that situation. So inside, I was thinking, I will hold you down and do it myself, But at the end of the day, we know that, the competitiveness is why we're all in the race. We were all chosen to do it. So, that's going to come through, or you're gonna implode, So it was.
We're going to lose one of our hosts here. Somebody has to go.
I have to go. I'm having to work, y'all. I'm sorry.
You got a doctor.
You got to save lives.
Save lives. Okay, I think that might take precedence over what
a little bit.
All right, Uchenna, so tell us what's going on with you before we start drilling you with questions about you and your seasons.
Oh, wow. Well, I tell you what, a lot of people have been asking me, as over the years, how do I get on the race? What do I do? And how do I audition? Now, I've been an actor before. I actually teach a class called Mastering the Interview for people in the professional world. And it's sort of a combination of the two of them, and it's like, how do I coach people to apply for The Amazing Race? So I have a webinar that's Tuesday, the 19th. It's called Reality Show Secrets Revealed, and really it's a coaching webinar for people who've never interviewed for a reality show or a competitive reality show, and how to put their tape together properly and sort of get the casting director's attention that first time.
Which is an amazing thing.
Save you tears. I remember the first casting interview we had, I cried. I left and I cried.
She was crying, yeah.
I froze up and I didn't say anything, and the casting director was just like,
what
Lynn. Do you mean? Like, you're just sitting there.
He
just said he was going to sabotage. What are you going to do? You can't just sit there. And I did. and she was like drilling me, and I remember like just sitting there being like.
She just walked in the room and she was like, he's giving all these great answers, and you know what? We'll just take him and we'll put him on Survivor and we'll just send you home.
Oh my God.
I was like,
that's what they say, yeah.
Left the interview and cried and said, oh my God, I blew this for us. I'm so sorry. They even called and said, how do you think that went? And I said, terrible. Terrible. I thought we were going home.
First day. They're going home first day.
So bad.
Listen, 4 years before I was on The Amazing Race, I applied for and was a finalist to be on Survivor Africa. And so I was inoculated and everything, thought I was going and all that. So, but that process of interviewing, I had my moment of freaking out in front of, at that point there were, I don't know, did you guys have a point where you interviewed in front of the president of the company, Les Movies?
Yeah.
Not Les. There was about 20-something people.
From
well,
CPS,
we made tapes.
We had to make tapes for Les.
But, I mean, after the first interview, I mean, you bomb that. You can only get better. So after that, I mean, it was like, okay, I've done the worst that we can do. There's only going up from here.
Right,
The next interview, we had Phil, which we had seen him on Rachel Ray, so I felt a little more comfortable, like, because there was that little sense of familiarity.
Yeah.
So how can they sign up for your webinar?
Well, actually, they can't because we've closed registration. But what they can do is go to Reality Show Secrets www.realityshow.secretsrevealed.com, and there'll be a spot where they can put their name and email address, and then when we do the next one, we'll definitely put them on deck. But what they will get is a copy of my interview with casting. So I actually have a live interview that I did with casting, recorded, and then they'll be able to hear what casting wants. So all they got to do is go there and get on deck for all the other things that we have in our little arsenal of webinars that are coming.
And not only did he run the race, but he won the race. And he won the race against somebody who people think could have been one of the best racers. What are you thinking? Is your season old school racing seasons? You're watching the current seasons. Do you see like that old school Amazing Race is harder, a lot more difficult, just totally different?
They're having to get creative. There's things that we had to do back then, like beg on the streets when we ran out of money. That was not cool. Then people kind of caught on to that little thing and started begging early. But early on, when you have to beg on the street, it's a completely different scenario. Now, you guys have some hard stuff going on right now. Myself, I felt like I was never physically challenged to the level that I could go. But
physically,
that was just me. Now, I was always directionally challenged, so we always made up on the games and on the challenges. So I think the Amazing Race now is just as hard as it was before. That part never ends because they're getting creative. The games are awesome. The tasks are hard, and people are still blowing up and sort of killing each other when they get frustrated. So I still love watching it. I pace when I watch the show now, so I have to kind of wait and watch it at another time. I can't watch it live because I pace. I have to go back, rewind.
Even when you watch your season and you know what happens, you still get that feeling of like the heart, like, oh my God, like what's gonna happen now? But you know, like you still get that in you.
I tell you what, I have never watched my season fully.
Really?
Neither one. I've never watched it.
Like we dissect ours so much. I feel
I couldn't do it. I can't do it. I mean, I don't sound the same. It just, and I know what
you won.
I know. I did not watch that. We came in second and we watched it a couple times.
I cry as soon as if I see any clips anywhere of our finale, I start crying.
Yeah.
Anywhere.
Yeah. Now that part, there are a couple of clips because I do a lot of speaking engagements, and people, I give them a clip to play to kind of remind people, and then when I'm at grade schools, I mean, a lot of these kids weren't even born when we did the show, but there are certain clips that I watch. Makes me cry every time, and it's hard to get started. But something about watching, even when I was playing sports, I never liked to watch my own games. It was weird. I don't know.
So if you could Now you say you want to race again. All right, you're in the race. Who do you want to find in that final 3? Who do you want to be in that final 3 and race to the finish line?
All right, Rob and Amber, of course.
Oh, you want them back? You want them back?
I mean, you know, I like a 3-peat. You know what I mean? Let's see, who else? Jeez, man. You know, I like the people who have really shown. I mean, you know, I would like to run against you guys. I would.
That would be fun.
Second place.
I wouldn't mind that final 3.
I know in the back of your mouth, you still taste that victory. It's just so close, so close. And
it's 4 words. It's keep the meter running. That's $1 million. Keep the meter running. $1 million.
Or bags in the back seat. Yeah.
I really don't care who else is on the field because the money, and this is the weird part about it because I'm a very competitive person and winning the race is like everything, but that journey itself is so priceless that, you know, the opportunity to do it again would be, I don't know, just be pure joy, a lottery win in itself.
All right, we got a lot of people in the chat room. If you want to ask some questions, Krista again has got to make a run.
My dog has to go to the bathroom.
So go ahead and go take.
It was so
Nice
awesome
to
to
see you,
talk
Krista.
to you.
Take
Bye,
care.
guys. I'll see you next
We'll
week.
finish up with Uchenna, obviously an amazing race legend, 2-time running the race. He won the race. He beat Rob and Amber.
I talked to Rob just recently, you know, and we still kind of rib about that situation.
He made, like when we watch back, it's like he made a fatal mistake. Instead of saying keep the meter running, if he would have just kept his mouth closed and never told you to go look for an earlier flight, he would have had a chance.
Exactly.
He's like, yeah, go look for an earlier flight. And you're like, okay. And, oh, I got one.
We actually saw that we're going to a charity event in Florida in August, Hearts of Reality, and on the lineup is Rob, or maybe it's Rob and Amber, and we're actually really excited because before racing, we were big fans of Rob and Amber on Survivor, and then watching them on Amazing Race, Justin had kind of wanted to model his Amazing Race strategy after Rob and Amber, but
you can't do any of that
there's so
stuff
many
anymore.
rules that are now in place because of your season and Rob and Amber's gameplay. Like you can't pay someone and follow them. You can't bring somebody along with you.
You can't take somebody to the finish line.
I mean, he was smart, and I'm sure that was scary.
And that's the whole thing. The crew, I'll just leave it at that. The crew said that Joyce and I were the most clueless team to ever start the race and then finally get it toward the end and actually still be there at the end. So
right.
I feel good about that, I think. So
hey, you guys grew in the race rather than shrinking like some teams.
And avoided elimination. Now these non-eliminations, wow. Timely.
What was your impression of Amber? Did you feel like Amber was an equal partner for Rob, or that Rob carried their team?
See, I always felt like Amber was the brains of the organization, and he was the carry-out man. So she would say, maybe we should, and he would like, yeah, and do it. So they were a nice combination together. They really were. And she was willing, They were a great combination. Let's just say that she was a good compliment to him. I mean, if there were 2 Robs in one race, I don't know.
No, that would not work.
Yeah, that would be tough.
Right.
Because I feel like if you look at previous winners, a lot of them has been male-female teams, and they have had a good balance. And I feel like it would be just like if there was 2 Justins, would not be a ideal team, because for every Justin you need a Diana or you need an Amber that kind of puts people in check and says, this is not a good idea. Let's rethink this. Let's look at it from this perspective, because sometimes you get so tunnel vision on what you want to do that you forget that there's balance to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Now, when you guys lined up at the starting line, who did you look at as your biggest threat?
Going into it, I thought the brothers were the biggest threat, because the male thing. And I had not seen many races. We were race 7, so there hadn't been a whole lot of experience about it. But I thought guy teams were going to be stronger. But it seemed like, let's see, at the finish, the last 4 teams were mixed teams. Even Meredith and Gretchen, 60-something-year-old team. There were no same-sex teams in the end.
Is there anything you wish that the Amazing Race would do, or maybe something you've seen on another country's Amazing Races that you wish they would incorporate into this maybe next?
No. I mean, I look forward to whatever creative thing that they do. Like we got to see the whirling dervishes in I forget where we were now. But it was just like something in my childhood thing that I wanted to see. So you never know what you're gonna see. We got to see armor and go into castles and do all, it's just
Yeah, it's the best. It's the best feeling ever. And even though you won, you still have the itch that you need to go back.
Oh, no doubt. I tell people if I could do it every 2 years, not every race, but just every 2 years, because
he was ready to go. Yeah, he was ready to go like when we came back.
I was like, if they got all-stars, we're going right back.
I know. I'm like, give me a break, Justin. I have to just
download
life. I know.
Let's go. I want to go again. It's like I got another quarter on the machine. Let's go.
You're like me. You're definitely like me, man. I'm in an obstacle course. Give me a game. I'm all over it. I'm 197 years old, and I'm going to still play until the day I die.
Well, you still look great, brother.
What you said really rings true, though, is about how much the racing experience will change you. Money aside, I mean, we didn't win the money. We came in second. We won, amazing prizes. But the best part of the race is actually getting to experience the world. And like when I'm a teacher, I live a very simple life. I'm very modest and private. And I kind of forget that I went around the world. And there will be times where I'll be talking about something and my students will say, oh, Miss Bishop, like you went there. You were in Paris. And I said, oh, yeah, you're right. I was there. And I mean, as much as it changes you, it's something that you never forget. But in a way, life goes on. And you do, like you said, like, where were we when that happened? And you just forget that those things happen. But the racing part's the best part, and it's the part that is worth everything.
So Uchenna, tell everybody again where they can get your stuff. If you want to learn about how to get cast on some reality shows.
Well, realityshowsecretsrevealed.com. Okay? And that's realityshowsecretsrevealed.com. And, I coach folks on a whole lot of different things, life coaching and business strategy stuff. So it's interesting. After doing the race, I find myself talking to people about things that are more than just like money accumulation, trying to get people to connect with the bigger picture. And you got to experience something that even since then, I've been, board chair of a nonprofit. Started a couple. I've done a major fundraisers. I will be with you guys in August at Parts of Reality.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You guys there.
That's
I just
awesome.
missed the wire to be at Reality Rally. I'll be there next year.
Yes, we're definitely going back.
Yeah. And the thing is, you can play and do things for other people. And I think that's one of the big things I got out of the race is just like, I can do something right from right where I am. You saw it, poverty all over the world.
Oh
You saw gracious people all over the world. You saw we're not that far apart from each other.
Right.
And that's the beauty of the race, because you move so fast into those different cultures. It's like, boom, wow, they're not much different than us. Language. Anyway, you guys got a time. Is there time? I mean,
we've never gone this long. So, but we've never had like a front end and back end guests.
But yeah, so that's the whole thing. What I urge people to do is to just, go after your dreams, go after it. And it sounds so crazy to just say, oh, go after your dreams, live your life. But really step out there. I mean, I go to grade schools and share my world experience. I actually hooked up with some master teachers, and we put together a game called Earth Trek. And it's an in-class game. It's an amazing race for the classroom. And they learn about each country, but they also do things based on what that country, like in China, they learn how to, use the abacus, and they have to do for art. It's really kind of cool. They learn some Chinese.
Sounds cool.
So it's, there's so many different things you can do. And so earthtrekgames.com is another little interesting thing you can go and look at.
I will definitely look it up for my kids. I know when I came back, I tried to share my experiences. I tried to you know, talk to my students. I teach 6th grade, so they're 11, kind of turning 12. But
Right.
you know, when they get upset at their parents for not having the newest sneakers or for not having this and that, and I try to tell them, look, I've seen kids with nothing, bare feet, no clothes, and they are running around happy as can be, playing with a stick and a rock,
Right.
and they don't know what they don't have. And I started. It's not even a charity, but I tried to get my kids to learn about charity and about donating. So when they donate to a can that we have in the classroom, they can pick a souvenir that somebody else has donated to our classroom, and we pin it on a map. And I try to get my students to see really how big the world is, but how really close we all really are. And it's been an amazing experience to be able to share that with my students and to try to get them to see how big everything's, but how close we really are.
Right. Yep. You got to keep doing that. You got to keep doing that. Exposure is what grows people.
Yeah, perspective. It gets you a different perspective on life. And the only way to do that is to go experience it. No matter how much you talk about it, no matter how much you see it on TV, the only way to really get that perspective is to go and live it. So go live life. Stop buying physical things and buy experiences. Buy things that'll change your life. The new Jordans ain't going to change your life. The new 70-inch screen TV is not going to change your life. But you know what? Taking that trip to Africa and seeing how a whole world, where our world started is still so primitive. Go back and see it and see how happy these kids are.
You're absolutely
nothing.
You're absolutely right. Did you know that less than 20% of Americans have passports?
20%.
Wow.
Yes, less than. This in the teens.
Well, I think people don't think that they're able to. Like, I think people think traveling is difficult. I think people are afraid to travel outside of their comfort zones. And I think once you go to your first place, there's kind of this thirst. Like, we went to Iceland. That was really my first experience outside of the United States, besides like Mexico. I really don't know if I count that as like leaving. Right. Yeah. I mean, it's still connected to the United States, but Iceland was my first experience with culture, with a language barrier. And once I had a taste of Iceland and really getting to travel, then we had the amazing race. And now I just have this thirst that I am afraid cannot be touched. That I'm going to have to go everywhere.
You become a thrill seeker. You become, a travel, like, you're addicted to it.
Yeah, watching Travel Channel, recording shows on travel, follow everybody on travel on Twitter and Instagram and seeing all these beautiful places.
Right. Well, my philosophy, and I agree with you about people being afraid to travel, but, we have these beautiful TVs now with high definition. Most people, they can travel the world with their computer and their TV and never have to leave their living room. And I think there's a level of laziness that goes with not making those moves as well.
Yeah.
Well,
I love it, and I hope everybody goes and checks out the
reality show reveal.
Sorry, I didn't write it down like an idiot.
Okay. It's okay. No, there's no sorries. It's all right.
Reality show Secrets Revealed. Check them out. And this website here, it's actually really cool. This EarthTrekGames.com. If I know I get a lot of teachers watching.
I could do tomorrow. So we're right in the middle of our state testing, and tomorrow we have a full day, so that might be something fun to do.
Well, thank you, Uchenna, for all you've done for the Amazing Race since you've been on it, and continue to do.
If you're ever in Philadelphia, I'd love for you to come to my school. We're probably 15 minutes from the airport. I'll be a contactor. You contact us.
We're connected now, so that's one beautiful thing about the whole reality community is
absolutely
we love each other. We participate in each other's things. And
we're family.
Yeah, it is a family. And
there's very few people who can relate to anything that we've done.
Oh, no doubt. But a lot of people want to. And, you got to be willing to share that with them. It's a lot of fun. Amen. So, hey, listen, I thank you guys for having me on.
It's a pleasure.
Whatever you guys need, I'm there for you, all right?
Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. It's so cool.
Uchenna. Give Joyce our love.
We'll do.
All right. Thanks, Uchenna.